Let's talk for a few minutes about what happens when you go under contract. What do you need to do? What are the dates? What things work best? How does that work? What are the timelines? So I'm going to show you that I put together this tracker. I'll put a link in there. If you want a copy of it, you can go grab a copy of it. I'll put a link at the bottom where you can get your own contract to close tracker and be able to follow along as well. So the good thing about this is first, this of course all starts when you're under contract. Whenever the last person has signed is the executed date. You're under contract. So all these dates, you can just fill in all the information out here. And you see at the bottom, it has all your timelines and communication. We'll go through all that to kind of follow you along and help you out. Now, my name is Andrew Morin. I'm a real estate trainer. I've been doing it for years. Love to help agents. One of my passions to make sure agents can succeed and do well. I think there's not enough help for people out there to be able to help each other. So I also would love to help you join our family here on the YouTube, like and subscribe, have fun with us and be able to come listen and join us and be able to share this with your friends who are other agents so we can help them. So this, of course, is based on Texas. That's where I do my real estate. So if you have a different state, it might be slightly different, but it should very much be based on your state. Okay. The only thing you change here are these gold. You fill in all the gold and you don't mess with the rest. Okay. And then, of course, anything I put in here that I put some stuff already, you'd put in there. This is the information about the property. You want to put as much as you can in there. The second thing, you're going to put in when the last person signs. That's your executed date, or day zero, as they call it. Okay. And then the closing date, I just did it 30 days past that date. Whatever your closing date is. You put in the option period days, the financing date, how many days you have on third-party financing. Again, the effective date on that form. If you have financing, if it's not cash, it doesn't matter. The sale price, if you have a lender, put in their name. You put in your option fee, your earnest, which is usually 1%, so $3,000. Your title company, of course, in San Antonio, you'll use E&V Title. And then here, escrow, closer, whatever name you're going to be using in there. Some key things to remember. This is some Texas Real Estate Commission quick rules. Right, a lot of people get confused on this. The executed date right here, or the effective date, I should say, the effective date when the last person signs is day zero. The next day is day one. Everything starts, even the earnest and option countdown. The option does not start at day one on day zero. They're both day zero. Okay, so no matter what day you're at, they are zero. All contracts run on calendar days, not business days. All right? All contracts run on calendar days, not business days. You have to remember that. So earnest and option fees are both due within 3 business days, not calendar days. So the way that works, now the good thing to remember, option fee and earnest fee and all that money, that happens if it falls on a weekend or a holiday, then that doesn't count for. Let me explain it for dates. So say it's Thursday and I go under contract. That's my effective date instead of trying to confuse anybody. So let's say Thursday is my effective date, day zero. Friday is day one. Saturday is day two. Sunday doesn't count. But Monday would be the next day, unless it would be day 3, it'd be due by the end of that day, unless Monday's a holiday. If Monday's a holiday, then you have to wait till Tuesday. So remember, you're keeping track of that. That's just an easy way to think about it. Okay, so the title company, you have 20 days. We have 20 days at title to deliver the title commitment. And again, it auto extends 15 to 3 days before closing, whichever is earlier. You have the seller has 15 days to cure timely objections. If they find anything in title that seller needs to clean up. And then the buyer has 5 days of cure period to terminate or waive. Once you get that title object thing, anything that finds a bad title. The closing disclosure, the CD, that needs to happen 3 days before closing. So if I'm closing on a Friday, if I put the CD out Tuesday, that's day one, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days. But if I close on a Friday and I put the CD out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I can't close till Saturday and Sunday. Title company is not usually open on Saturday and Sunday. So, because they have banking hours, because they're insurance a bank, they're not going to close until Monday. So you need to pay attention to that. I highly recommend making sure you reach out about a week before the closing disclosures due and make sure that's good to go when you're ready to go. Remember, seller's disclosure, if it's not delivered on time, if you never get the seller's disclosure, the buyer can get out whenever they want. If it is delivered late, after you get it, you have up to 7 days after you receive it to cancel the contract. You get an extra 7 days option. Okay. And then, of course, after the HOA subdivision info is received, the buyer can close 3 days after that, or not close, but cancel and get their earnest money back. And if that's before that or before closing. So there's a lot of dates to remember. So now that you've filled in this time, you kind of think the TREC key rules, the easy thing to remember is go to the timeline. So deliver contract. This was my date. I need to get the contract. See, last party signed. All deadlines start here. This is day 0. I gotta get my contract to title. Boom. Next day, title. See, no weekend extension. Even if the date for your option period, it don't matter. Earnest extends to the next business day if it falls on a weekend or a holiday. Boom. Okay, so now my earnest is due on this day. It's 3 days after day 0. So the 20th, 23rd. Got it. Loan application submitted. Got that. And you just literally just follow this. Boom, 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 boom. And you just follow this. Option period. This is when we put in it's a 7-day option. Make sure that's when the option period ends. That's a big one. Financing deadline, that's a big one. That's why it's green, to get your attention. Those are some more crazy ones. Closing date, all that. Change MLS. If you just follow these dates and follow the way they set up, this will lead you through everything and make sure that you're safe and you don't miss any big dates. Now, if you go to the bottom and do the full checklist like it's showing here, as you can see, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Ready to go. And then it's going to go. And then, of course, if they have a phase 4 and 5, closing and post-closing, which is important to do those things. If you do all these things right here, again, executed day to day 3, your kickoff and receiving, all this needs to be done before those 3 days. So in the beginning, you're going to be busy. That's what I always tell agents. Tell your clients, when you go under contract, the first week, I'm going to drive you crazy. You're going to hear a million things from me. I'm going to be bugging you. I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be asking you for everything under the sun. Once you get out of that option period, you're going to be doing all the title stuff, the lender stuff, everything else is taking over. So I tell my clients, I'm still going to talk to you. I'm still going to be here, but you won't hear about me as much. I'll have a lot of other stuff I'm going to be doing behind the scenes. And then I tell them about a week or so before closing, we're going to make sure all the repairs are done, the closing disclosure, final walkthrough, all that. So all these things that can happen are all in here now. See, here's when you get your clear to close, all that kind of stuff. You got your clear to close there. You have your closing week. Everything is connected here correctly. So this is a nice, easy contract to close checklist to kind of walk you through the process. Now, of course, here, if I put my contacts, this is an easy way if you put everyone's information in here to keep track. And now, if you have a couple different contracts, like if you have the same title company, the same lender, the same processor, the same appraiser, home inspector, all these people use the same. Once you've done this once, you can just cut and paste into your new one every time. You don't have to worry about it. And then this is a communication log. This I recommend doing. So every meaningful call, every email and text, this protects you as an agent. You put the time, date with who, the method, you put a quick summary, and right here, see method, you can do call, text, email, it's already done, and then you can do a follow-up if needed on that message. This protects you as an agent, because people are going to say, I never talked to you about that, I never did that. And then if you can have a communication log for each client, each deal, it's going to protect you. So if you get a copy of this and you go and grab one, what I recommend to do, it'll be a Google Drive sheet or an Excel sheet. Go ahead and hit File and make a new copy every single time you use this. Don't use the same copy over and over. Make a new copy every time you use it, every single thing, because you want a separate file. So when you hit File, Save As, you name it that address of the property. So you can track everything, every communication, everything that's done, all of it's kind of working side by side to help you out. So hope that helps and walks you. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do again. And hope that gives you some value. You can follow the link and we'll talk to you soon.